I am here with Jeremy Davis, and I asked Jeremy to come talk to me today because Jeremy's a master at building AI automations. And I think a lot of people can probably resonate when I say this, that there's a lot of things that I'm doing right now that I know in the back of my head, this could probably be automated by AI. Like, this is a task that could definitely be done by a robot instead of me. And I'm probably wasting a lot of time on this, but I don't actually know how to do that yet or how to even get started. So I asked Jeremy to jump on with me because Jeremy's the guy that does know how to do that. So, Jeremy, thanks for joining me. You want to give a quick background on what you do?
Yeah, sure. Name's Jeremy Davis. I started in project management with software development departments, large corporations, Kroger, Humana. Moved into working for myself as a fractional COO, which oftentimes meant improving processes and systems. And as of the last few years, that mainly means how do we automate things so that we can scale bigger, we can scale faster. We don't have to wait to hire 10 people before we can start making more money. Let's start making more money today. How do we do that? What are some things that are in the way? What are our bottlenecks to growth? And oftentimes that means let's automate some process that we've been doing manually for a while. Let's clean up things. Let's make sure tools are talking to each other that should be talking to each other so that we don't have to have 50 tabs open or copy paste from one to a bunch of other tabs. And as I said, as of late, that means a lot of automation and some AI stuff as well.
And with the AI stuff, a lot of it's not, you don't need to be super technical, right? Like, we're not writing full on Python scripts and things like that. Like, a lot of it can be done in some of these no code tools or tools that, you can learn using YouTube tutorials.
Yeah, and especially an AI tool that has some kind of chat box, right? Like ChatGPT does. Some of the AI tools, they have you fill out like fields, almost like a form, and then like it does things in the background. But the ones that have a chat box, you can even ask it how to, how do I use you, pretty much, right? So it's a continual conversation, or it can be. You can always make those small incremental continuous improvements. Yeah. If
Yeah.
it's not giving you the results you want, I had a drill sergeant one time who said there's two ways to do things, the right way and again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
here we just do it again.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best things that I like using AI for right now is just like, hey, I have this thought in my head, but like I don't know the best way to like articulate it. It's like, hey, ChatGPT, like I'm thinking about building this app. Like, what's everything that I would need to even be like thinking about that I'm not thinking about right now? I'm basically using it as a thought partner. And yeah, some of these automation tools that now have chat boxes, it's pretty awesome now that you kind of have like your own personal automation expert sitting right there. So in today's video, we're going to walk through some of the automations that you're building, how you can get started with these tools. You want to give me a quick rundown of, if someone watches to the end of this video, what can they expect to learn?
Yeah, so a little bit of behind the scenes, how the sausage is made. Nick and I were kind of talking about, what do we build for this video, right? So I gave him a short list of things that I could do. So there's a couple things. One of them that we'll start with, because it'll be pretty quick, is a branding expert agent. Main reason for that branding is to make sure that it speaks in your voice. That's important, especially if you're going to be using AI for content. You may get inspiration from different things. You read something, you watched a video, you want to talk about it, right? And that can be a great starting point for that video or that content that you're going to make. So we're going to make sure that we teach you how to capture our voice. And then from there, there's also a really neat automation that I'm going to set up here. We capture content as it's posted to YouTube in 15-minute cycles. So Nick posts a video in this automation. If you give it access to Nick's URL for his YouTube channel, every time Nick posts a video, within 15 minutes, it will transcribe that video, and then we can do something with that transcription, right? So Nick puts out a video and you want it to summarize this video in 10 points or explain it to me like I'm 4 if it's too complicated or whatever, right? But then what we do with that transcription is we can turn that into other content. So Nick does a video, let's turn this into a blog post summarizing it in the 10 points, or turn it into a thread. Or if you're making your own videos, every time you post a video, within 15 minutes, boom, you have a thread for X. You have a long form post for your blog or your newsletter. If you do a newsletter hand in hand with YouTube videos, you could just film the YouTube video and then have the newsletter pretty much written based on what you already talked about in your YouTube videos. Really, you're cutting down on the amount of work. You're maximizing the output without maximizing the input. You can do it one time and then repeat it numerous times, which a lot of people are talking about with repurposing content. This is a great way to do that.
So we're going to walk through the full brand and marketing machine, automating it so that we can get everything in your voice as well as content automatically made for you without actually having to set everything up every single time. All going to be automated. And what tools are we going to be using today?
So I use a tool called Taskade. I like it better than ChatGPT. Well, let me rephrase. It uses OpenAI's API, so it is ChatGPT. However, unlike a lot of what we call LLM wrappers, which is pretty much like, hey, here's ChatGPT, but we cut it down to only do one prompt and we charge you $10 instead of 20. This actually adds on top of what you can do with ChatGPT. And I won't get lost in the weeds here real quick, but the big difference for me is the amount of things that it connects to, because unless you're good with Zapier or Make, ChatGPT native doesn't really connect with a lot of things. If you click on that button, you can connect it to Dropbox and you can connect it to your Google Drive, and that's about it. You have to build automations to loop it in the system. You have to use the API and that kind of stuff. However, with this, you can connect it to many other things like YouTube, like we mentioned.
Yeah, I love it. All right, well, so should we pull it up and take a look?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in the Taskade tool right now, and
Yep.
you're in a project. Quickly, before we jump in here, can you walk through how something like Taskade is different than a Make or a Zapier, one of these automation tools that have been around for a long time and people have been using?
Yeah. How is it different? It has some overlap. You can make some automations. Most of the automations, though, are native in Taskade, and they don't cost you zaps, and they don't cost you a monthly subscription outside of what you're already paying for the tools. $20 for 2 users or $100 for unlimited users. So it's perfect for small teams. I've been doing project management for almost 15 years now, and this is my favorite project management tool for teams under 20. Definitely like 10 and under, this is perfect. But there's a few things that you can create in them, one of which is projects. Projects is, if you're familiar with like a Notion, you can build, you have your little document here, right? This is where the projects, but it has different views, kind of like a ClickUp, right? You have a Kanban board, you can put it into a calendar. So if your agent builds like a content calendar, you can do that. You can also build tables, mind maps, org charts, and then even a Gantt chart. If you're not familiar with Gantt charts, good. It's a dying thing. That's an old way of doing project management. I prefer Kanban boards these days. But yeah, actually what was neat was the thing that I just closed. Not only can you build out your projects here, you can also chat with the AI agents that you build or teams that you build. You can chat in the project and it can update it for you. So Zapier couldn't do that with this. You can also chat with people. So you can tag people. I think I'm the only one in this server, so it's just me. But yeah, you can talk to people. You can even video call with people, other members. So it's a full solution.
Feels much more like like you'd have a team in here rather than Zapier. It's just like you go into to build these automations and you don't log in again until something goes wrong or you want to build the next one, right?
Yeah, so project is kind of an overarching term for many things. A project could be your content calendar. A project could be the output of an agent output. We're actually going to have those here. So what we're setting up is we're going to set up a branding agent and then a YouTube content trigger automation. And one of the last thing we do is, well, once we write this based on YouTube content, where do we want to send it? We could post it many different places. We could have it just create a project, meaning a document that has the summary of those videos. You can email it to yourself. So I would say that this isn't something that you would use instead of Zapier necessarily. All of the Taskade automations have to do with Taskade, right? So it's not like if you have two completely different tools that are not Taskade related that you would use this for it. And we'll get into that when we see the automations. But yeah, you can build documents, you can build AI agents. So you can start from scratch, or you can even build an AI agent with AI. Explain what it is that you need. And that's what we'll do here with the branding agent. There's also a ton of templates, unlimited agents for literally whatever you need. But you can also customize them. Then you can make automated tasks with them to run their commands. So every time a trigger happens once a day, every time a new video is uploaded, many different triggers. RSS feed, that's another one that's similar. Webhooks, mail hooks. If someone fills out a form in Calendly, you get a new message in Slack in a certain channel, even GitHub. There's so many different options as far as triggers to start running your agents. So I'll back up a bit. But yeah, we're going to start with building the branding agent.
Yeah, so I'm excited to watch you build the agent. Before we jump in there, just to get the juices flowing a little bit here, what are some ideas on, because this platform can clearly do more than I'll ever know probably. What are some ideas on how you can, one, I think you can automate a ton of things in your own business, right? So like you could replace a lot of lower level tasks that you might pay a VA for or something like that. But I also think you could offer this as a service. And I think you were doing something relatively close to that. But I think you could go into businesses and say, hey, look at all these things that I can completely automate for you. I can build it all in this tool. And maybe you even just become an expert on one or two of these automations, right? And you say, hey, I offer these 3 automations to these types of businesses. What are some ideas there?
Oh, buddy, you have no idea. So this was the dummy agent that I just made because I was clicking around and saved it accidentally. But you can share the agent, so you can give public access to it. So you can build the agent, you can curate the knowledge base, you can even have it copy the knowledge base so other people can have it, and people can use this agent. So in the past, I made an agent that I'm a veteran and I care a lot about veteran affairs. And one of the things that veterans struggle with is when they move from the military world to the civilian world, it's hard to translate their resume because most civilian hiring managers just don't understand. So I made an agent where it starts with the form and it's publicly accessed. So I can even just click here, right? So then the agent would pop up here. So this could be a standalone site. You can even embed it as a widget. So you can embed these agents on your site or on a specific page, or behind a paywall if that's what you want to do, if you want to like build something for someone to use and then you charge them for it. I use these a lot for lead magnets for specific things. And then if someone clicks clone, then they have this on their own Taskade account. But yeah, it could be a service. One of those triggers that you can build with automations is even a form. So you can upload, you can have them answer questions, and then based on their questions, the agent does specific things. That works for service-based industries. Like if you do cold email for a living, you probably have the exact same questions for your clients when they onboard, and you could have them fill out that form, and this could write a lot of those emails, the entire sequence really, if you wanted it to, without your manual input based on the answers that your client gives. A lot of opportunities there.
Totally. Well, so should we jump into building the first agent here?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to show you the easiest way to do it. Create with AI. Use AI to build AI, right? We're using the stones to destroy the stones here. So something simple. We're not going to get too complex for the video. Build a brain agent who's an expert in understanding my company's voice and tone. Perfectly fine, because that's not the prompt. That's the prompt to create the prompt. So now, based on that, it created something called a branding agent. You are a branding agent with expertise in understanding and maintaining a company's voice and tone. Your role is to evaluate existing materials, develop brand guidelines, and ensure all communication aligns with the brand's identity. So that's the prompt that it will receive. It also creates these commands. So commands are not needed if you're manually typing in, this is what I want you to do. Commands come into place when we want it to do that automatically. So for example, review marketing content. If we might change that to review YouTube video. And then every time I post a video, this would run, and maybe we have it rate our videos based on our previous content, for example. So yeah, this is what it looks like once it's built. Got a little avatar there. Introduction is like that first little chat message that you see. This is mostly important if you're using these for like outbound reasons, conversation starters. Most important things on the back end of the agent is knowledge. So there's a few different things that you can give it. Projects, like we showed earlier. Media is things that have already been uploaded to Taskade, because you might want multiple agents to have specific document might need to be shared with 2 agents. You can do that easily that way. Link is literally websites. YouTube is literally YouTube videos, and then you can train them on those videos. And then it also connects to Google Drive, Dropbox, Box, and OneDrive. This is why I like it better than just using standard ChatGPT, because you can't do this with ChatGPT. You have so many different types of files that you can build out a knowledge base. And I have worked this thing. You're never going to give it too much information, but you can just add and add. Tools are pretty neat. So these are things that an agent can do on your behalf. The defaults are obviously do things in Taskade, scrape web pages, search the web, run other agent commands. So I can have an agent tell another agent to do things if I wanted to do that. It can insert rows into Google Sheets. It can even post directly to WordPress. In the scenario that we'll be building with, once a YouTube video is posted, we can capture that and do something with it. So if a channel that you like, or even yourself, posts a YouTube video, we summarize it, we turn it into some kind of blog post, And then if you use WordPress, you can literally stick it right on your WordPress website and publish. So you can do manual approval. I like manual approval because I still like to have a hand in things. But if you're more cavalier, you can literally just have it post directly to your WordPress site. You could have your blog running all the time. So you put 10 different YouTube channels in an automation, and every time one of these channels uploads, summarize that video, shoot it to my WordPress site. We may want to have an SEO agent rewrite it for SEO standards before that. So that would be an additional step, but we can do that. Yeah. At Taskade things, you can have it send messages in Slack. You can have it send emails. You can even have it SMS because it has a Twilio in it connection. So you could, every time someone fills out a form with their phone number, you can send them a text message through this. HubSpot for your CRM stuff, Discord, Teams, if anybody uses Teams. The only one I don't like is the X connection because it doesn't just connect like some tools do. You have to have a developer account. But yeah, LinkedIn, I mean, literally everything. So you can create those tools so you can give it access to do those things, either manually approved or automatic. And then the commands that we were talking about, that's not what you would need to, because you can just chat with it. But if you want it to do it automatically, then you would have a command, and I'll show you how to do that later. And then I showed you this briefly. You can also share it. So this branding agent, let's say we put this in this description and so people can use it. Yeah, copy the knowledge that we put in there. You can hide the branding if you want, and then we just upload it. So I either embed it or just give this link. And then if we give that link, this is what they got. The branding agent, they see the prompt, they see the tools that it has access to, they see the commands, and then I could literally just start using it. So that is the branding agent. Pretty simple prompt.
And so the agent is now like a chatbot that you can basically chat with. Is that right?
Yeah. Let's give it a terrible prompt here. Help me with my personal branding. What do you need to so I answer these questions, and it can help me with my personal brand. If you have videos of yourself, newsletters, whatever, you can add that to the knowledge base so that it would understand you better as well.
And now we can use this agent in, let's say, like an automation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So now we didn't add anything to its knowledge base. Actually, one second. Search the web for articles on building best practices for creating a branding guide. Boom. So it'll search the web, find articles, and then just because we're doing this for a video, not really worried about it. Once they have those links, we can add that straight to the knowledge base of that agent.
Yeah. And my favorite thing to do with branding stuff in regards to AI is like if I want to write my videos or like, let's say YouTube titles like Mr. Beast, it's like, hey, go find all the Mr. Beast titles, put these in the knowledge base. And now this is the idea for my video. Can you give me like 10 Mr. Beast video titles? Or let's say it's David Ogilvy, who's like an infamous copywriter, right? Go look at all of his ads, understand his copywriting, and now I want help on my ads, and I want you to act like you're David Ogilvy.
Yeah, you can do that. You can even do that. You can have it make a list, put that list into a project, and then you could have it go line by line and write the description for that video too, for example, right? And so you can run these agents not only in automations, but you can also run them in the project. So I'm gonna have it make a demo branding guide. Boom, there we go. Color palettes, all that kind of stuff, right? So we have that, add that to a project, demos, coding, projects, and let's add it there at the bottom. So now it'll add that branding guide to the bottom of this project. Here it is. Oh, it's already there. So now this agent or any future agents that I build can have access to the branding guide. So if we build an agent for writing our newsletter, it can adhere to the branding guide standards or any other type of work that you would need to understand what the branding is, right? Obviously, the more in depth you get, the better it'll work. But yeah, we got that in there.
Okay, sweet.
Let's do this. You had a video that did well recently. Oh, the Replit one, right? So
yeah.
Let's do that and grab that video.
Great.
Okay. Now what we could do is start a new chat. Let me add it to its knowledge base. And now it's train it on the video. All right. So KB knowledge base, added a YouTube video, retrieved the knowledge. Now it's going to summarize.
So this is cool. I have an idea of something that we could maybe build with this, and then I think with the YouTube agent that we're about to. Have you seen this guy? He's the CEO of Neat Prompts on Twitter, but basically every day he tweets out multiple times a day, like this guy literally shows you how to do XYZ, or this guy literally made a guide for this. And all of his stuff gets a ton of views because like he basically takes the best content in AI and he just like puts it out, right? So he's not actually like creating his own content. He's just finding the best and tweeting it out and curating it. So I think it'd be interesting to break down like what he does. And we could say, hey, look, we want to do something similar to this, right? We want to blow up our Twitter account, and maybe we want to just like be the guy that's known as bringing the best AI content to Twitter. And so why don't we sort of take the way that he prompts it, and we can build an agent that watches for content on YouTube about AI or anytime a new video comes out. And maybe it prompts us like, hey, here's the tweet that you should put out. What do you think about that?
Yeah, let's do it this way though. So let's go to automations, and we'll start from a fresh one here. And so we have our triggers. There's two triggers that I like for that for content. It's RSS feed. So you add a bunch of different things into an RSS feed that you already have, and then you give it the RSS feed URL. So every time, if you have a bunch of different publications in an RSS feed that are specific to AI, for example, every time something's written about AI on your RSS feed, it's captured and put here. Or what we were talking about with YouTube, every time a channel posts a new video, we capture it within 15 minutes. It's a 15-minute cycle. So if you post it right now, it could be 2 minutes, or it could be at most in 15 minutes. It captures that. But you can do that for multiple channels. So if you're one of those people who summarize other people's content, like big names, right? This is so-and-so put out a video, and this is what he's talking about. Well, you could be the first one to put that content out there. Hormozy posts a video at noon. At 12:15, you have a blog post published summarizing that video.
Or
You can be the quickest to the game there.
literally take the same exact format, right? He uses the same exact tagline every single time. This guy literally, or these guys literally, or Stanford literally shows you exactly how to do this, right? So what I'm thinking here is we can prompt it and say, hey, watch all of these sources. So watch all these YouTube channels, watch, this RSS feed. And anytime something interesting comes out, summarize it and say, this guy literally X, Y, and Z. So give me the sentence I can just copy and paste into a new tweet. And you just have multiple ideas a day.
Yeah. So without connecting everything, yeah, you add the channel. So every time a new video posts, then what do we do from there? Mainly what we're talking about is agent stuff. So you can have it run an agent command, and that agent command may be from the branding agent. So every time that video is posted, these are the ones that we didn't edit these, but you can, right? So maybe you want to analyze someone's brand voice. A successful channel put a video out. Why did it do well, right? But you could run any command that you create in here. Like you said, search for phrase whatever and summarize that section or whatever. But once you run those commands, then so you can do multiple things. You can even split, you can branch, you can split in different paths so you can do multiple things. This is where it's kind of zappy or make like, right? So you can do a bunch of different things once you split into paths. But you can also, where do you put that content once you've done something with it? You can email it to somebody, send it as a Slack notification, WordPress, same list that we went through. You can even enrich user data from Apollo. So there's a lot of options. Post it to your Facebook page, message in WhatsApp. That's just the other apps it connects with. You can even put it into a project. Maybe you want to create a project, and that project would be a document, right? So summarize it and put that document in there. So then every time someone posts a video from one of those channels that you're listening to, it automatically summarizes and then puts it in there. Or you could have it email it to you every day. Maybe you want your RSS feed to be summarized. Instead of reading 50 different articles every day, it waits till you get 50 articles, and once a day, it will check your RSS feed and then send you a summary of all of it with links. A lot of content opportunities here.
Yeah. I think what would be interesting just for like what I would want to use it for is, to watch the RSS feeds, watch YouTube videos, watch any content sources that you normally would like find content from that you'd want to repost on Twitter or wherever. And in real time, it's checking every 15 minutes. I get a Slack saying like, hey, this is like an interesting piece of content. Copy, paste, right into X, and you've got your content for the day. And that's like an easy way. People are always wondering like, I just don't have anything to tweet about or talk about. One of the easiest ways to really get started is just like talking about content that's already there, like finding the best content on Reddit or the best content on YouTube and just talking about it. This is an easy way to do it.
Exactly. So once it transcribes the video, we could turn This is just a title.
Hmm.
Let's call it threads. Before we share this with everyone, I'll go through and like do a little bit better. This is mostly just demo stuff, right? But once I created that step, now we have a YouTube video comes in. Then we're going to, where's transcribe? The agent is the branding agent, and we have it create a thread. So the input would be in our brand voice, for example, right? But what you can do here is you can even, similar to Make and Zapier, you can collect data from previous. So like you said with the titles, right? So you can capture the title. So instead of making a thread, it would be rate this title from 1 to 10 on how well we assume it will do on YouTube, right? And then you can go back and check and see like how accurate it is if you wanted to. But you could do that. You can capture the title. You can capture when it was published and uploaded, if that's important, the link to it, the video author. You can capture information from previous steps. So now that it does that, the next step, we could have it put it into a project, for example. So the title would be, let's call it summary of title, and then content would be the agent command result. So the output of this step is what would be created in there. And then you could make it look however you want as well.
Sweet. So I guess to explain a little bit more about what this agent is doing. So it's looking for any YouTube video that comes in. As soon as the video comes in, it's going to run whatever script that you're telling it to. So it's going to look at the YouTube title, for instance, in this example. It's going to rate it from 1 to 10 on how well it thinks it's going to do on YouTube. And then once it has that, it's going to create a new project inside Taskade and basically with the content. So if it says, hey, we think this title is going to be a 1 out of 10, it's going to put it into a new project and say this one specifically is going to be a 1 out of 10. This would be interesting to do to your own videos and basically train it, because you could say, hey, what do you think this is going to be? And it's like, this is a 1 out of 10. And it ends up actually being like a 7 out of 10. You could go back and say, actually, this one was a 7 out of 10, relearn and work backwards from there.
These are the things you can't do natively with ChatGPT, and you would have to pay another subscription and know how to do these things to do it with a Make or a Zapier as well. So you're saving money with doing it with one tool instead.
And let's say this automation is like super helpful for someone and they're like, hey, look, this completely transformed the way I do things. I want to sell this to other people now because like I think this is like an incredible automation that I've built. How do we turn this into almost like a SaaS that we could go resell to other people?
Yeah, so there could be a few different ways that you do this, right? So one way could be for that automation. Another thing you can do with the agents is you can build what's called a tool. The tool is literally an automation. So you can then just tell it to run that tool. So what you could do is if you wanted to sell, like you said, if you wanted to sell this as a micro SaaS, for example, because that Taskade would be great for building all kinds of those, because you can build unlimited agents for, well, not unlimited, but you can build a lot for like $20. But what you could do is if you wanted to productize this is you share the agent and put that behind a paywall if you want, because now you could use this link and you could use this branding agent. You could do the thread thing. You could give it, it can transcribe videos. So now I could give that video back here. So this doesn't know that I have an account. This is just a different tab. So now it's transfer. Oh, why didn't it work? It's weird. I have to play with it. I thought that would work. I don't know why I thought that would work. Oh, but you know what we could do? So yeah, so this is how you can monetize it. That was a good thing that it didn't work. What you could do is you could add a trigger, and that trigger can actually be a form, a new form, a feedback form, all kinds of different forms, but you can build your own form. So it could be YouTube videos, and there could be a link. Actually, I'm really glad that failed, because this is a better way to do it. So YouTube link, and that's fine for this form for now. So then we'll just save it real quick and then preview. So now I could publish this. Oh, I didn't enable it. So go back to build. I got that error. That's why it's not letting me do it. Anyway, you can create a form, and then you can either have it on its own page or you can embed it somewhere. So maybe they hit a paywall, then they pay for it, and then they go to this, and then they fill out a form, and then that form would transcribe that YouTube video, do exactly the things that we were talking about, and then the final step, for example, would be to email it to them. That's exactly what I did with the veterans that I was briefly mentioning. So with the use case for the veterans, and of course I wouldn't charge them for that, but what they would do is I made a form where they could upload file, which was the resume, and a link to the job description or the page of the job that they're applying for. And then it would rewrite their resume based on the job description that they're applying for. And it would also write the cover letter for them. And then it would email, because it had to enter their email address. So then it would email them the copy of their new resume, for example. So if I wanted to do something like that, but paid, I could have someone fill out a form or fill out a form, and then email them the results. You could do that for all kinds of things if you wanted to.
An idea just came to me there. So like if you have a bunch of YouTube videos, let's say one's from a year ago, like those are sort of just sitting stale. And if you go back and you change the title and experiment with the thumbnail, you could sort of revive those videos that are dead, because like YouTube's saying like, hey, we just saw there's a new title and thumbnail. Let's start pushing this to see if it gets more views. So you could create a whole service and saying like, hey, you're not doing anything with your back catalog. We'll provide a service for $20. We will provide you 3 thumbnails for any old video you want. You just submit your video through this form right here. And then on the back end, you build a whole flow of, coming up with ideas for the thumbnail, for the title. Maybe you even build in like a full, GBT vision image generation function there as well. So it starts building you out those thumbnails. And you could give someone 3 thumbnails for the past videos along with 3 video titles that, are tested by AI.
Yes and no. So there's a few things that you could do that way. So right now, the OpenAI API doesn't include their image generation.
They launched it recently, like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really? Oh, there you go. I haven't seen anything in Taskade specifically, so I don't think they are doing anything with that yet, but maybe they will. But there's workarounds, because Taskade connects to tools like Google Drive and things like that. And then those tools also connect to Make, and then therefore other things as well. So yeah, you can virtually build anything. This would do a lot of that. The thumbnail generation itself, you can't do with Taskade today, but you could do that for rewriting the descriptions and the title for those videos.
Yeah. And that's like the least of everyone's worries to get caught up on, right? If you're getting customers from that, like if you have to, for the first month or for the first 100 customers, you have to take that and put it into ChatGPT manually, like that's the way to start it.
Well, what we could output is the prompt that we would want to make that thumbnail if you're making the thumbnails with ChatGPT, right? So you could have it rewrite. So you could have them upload the video, it transcribes it, it writes a better title based on a prompt that you create. It writes a better description based on another prompt that you would create. So that would be 2 different agent steps. So I know we don't have it set up that way, but it would be run agent command, and then first agent command would be title. And then the second agent command could be like description, right? But then like a third one could be based on the result of the new title and the result of the new description. Write a prompt for ChatGPT to create a thumbnail. So then you could actually have that be the output. So if they upload the video, you give them a new title, you give them a new description, and then you create the thumbnail prompt based on that. And then what you could do is then have all 3 of those things. I don't know what you would use, maybe Slack, right? Maybe you send a channel message to your internal Slack channel saying, hey, here's a new description, here's a new title, and here's the thumbnail prompt. So then that person will just copy paste the thumbnail prompt into ChatGPT and you have your thumbnail. So, but it would cut down on most of that work because the title and description would already be done. Even the prompt would already be done. So then you would just manually have to copy paste that in there. Or you could probably, not just with Taskade, but maybe you could also automate it as an additional step by dropping that prompt. Oh, yeah. So you can drop that prompt into a Google Sheet insert row. So then that row would be the thumbnail prompt. And then you could use a make.com or a Zapier so that every time a new row is inserted into that specific sheet, run that to ChatGPT for that. So if you can do that in Make with the OpenAI API connection, then you could probably do that thumbnail as well. So
yeah,
you could probably do that entire thing just by them filling out the form, and which would literally just be them putting the link.
It's our unlimited. I love it.
It really is. That's why I always stress with my clients. People obsess over the tools, and that's a thing everywhere. I'm a golfer because I was born in Florida, so I don't have a choice. But people obsess over like drivers. People obsess over specific tools. They obsess over AI, like you have to understand the fundamental, like something like this. If a client came to me and said, hey, I wanted to do a business where I automate the recreation of titles, descriptions, and thumbnails of dead videos, we would whiteboard this, literally whiteboard this and go through what are the steps. Okay, what do you need? And then we would write much better commands for each one of those steps, right? How would you do that? How do you update a title? Where do you want the AI to pull inspiration from? Is it specific channels? Do we have a list of titles that are successful? Do we have a template of what makes a successful script or what makes a successful title or description? Because then you can give that as a knowledge-based item to the agent, and it will use that knowledge to build that title, for example. So very quick, but once it's done. So this whole thing, if you wanted to set up a business doing that exact thing that you mentioned, maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and you could start charging for it. You put it behind a paywall, and then you just drop the form on a page, charge them $20 a month, and then just keep running it or whatever makes sense for you.
And this is so much more approachable than like, hey, we're going to build a full SaaS app with a front end and it has to have a back end and auth and all of that stuff. Like this is so much more approachable.
Yeah. So my career in project management has always been on the tech side, mostly enterprise software. And people obsess over things that don't matter. Like all people want is it to get done, the thing, right? And everyone talks about those pain points and that's what you're selling. But then they spend way too much time making a pretty UI. You know what I mean? Like they don't care. There are some really ugly tools that work very well. Craigslist, right? Yeah. Craigslist is pure HTML and was a powerhouse for decades. I think people still use it, but I haven't been on there in a long time. But it's very ugly and it does a very good job. People just want the results. So yeah, if the goal is to build or rewrite the title, the description, and make a new thumbnail for them quickly, then yeah, you can chop this together pretty quick. If they want that done, but also want to feel good because it has a nice color scheme and the button, that's different. Yeah, you spend more time there. But working in software, it's been said for many years that it's like 80% of features of a product go unused. Think about Microsoft Excel, how a data analyst uses Excel and your average person or an accountant uses Excel. Completely different. They don't use the same features, right? Most of the features go unused, and people build features based on what they think their customers are going to want. They don't build it based on feedback. Get something ugly like this out. This might be your MVP. Make this as your MVP and then build better.
Yeah. Yep. And I think like before you even build anything out, you can just run this as a service. So if you want to provide thumbnails, you provide that as a service. Then if you decide, hey, look, I'm actually getting some traction here, then you could build it out on something like Taskade. And then if it's working on Taskade, then you could fully automate it with a fully custom SaaS app. One last idea that I have here is we build out these automations. I saw someone doing this on Twitter actually yesterday, is that if you build out a full automation for, let's say, LinkedIn content in a specific brand voice, and it's super intricate, it has like 17 different steps and pulls in all of this different data, you can go and sell this same exact setup to other people for, let's say, $10 or $25 on Gumroad as just like a full setup. And you're just selling this as a product or as like a PDF document, except instead of a PDF guide on how to, it's just a fully done for you setup. And all they have to do is click the button, pay $20, and they have this in their own account.
Yeah, it's pretty quick and easy, right? It has everything you need because you can embed it on different sites, shareable link. So now I think it will work for me. So if I do that, oh, this is the actual automation. But if I go to the form, I can put that form wherever I want. You can put it on Gumroad, right? Because Gumroad, I think you can sell links like as a digital product. So if someone wants to do that, they can just copy and paste it from there. So if someone wants to start a business, refreshing, modernizing, updating old videos, yeah, I'll have that available. I'll send that to you later today so that people can just literally copy and start a business doing that if they want.
Beautiful. I love it. Yeah, we'll have links to your socials and your website and that automation right there in the description. So if you want to connect with Jeremy, check him out. And I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, my TISM is solving problems, which has led me towards this career. And if you got something out of it, just let me know because I like to hear the success stories. I like those aha moments. That's what keeps me going. So yeah, everything I build is free. So just take it and run with it.
Beautiful.
Go make the world better.
Yes. Yes, sir. All right. Let's end on that.